freedom fighters, you say terrorists. Freedom fighters, terrorists. Freedom fighters, terrorists. When I say soldiers, you say militant. Soldiers, militant. Soldiers, militant. American freedom fighters, Islamic terrorists, Israeli soldiers, Palestinian militants. Because UNITA was not united as Mvimbi got guns from Reagan while being backed by apartheid's P.W. Botha, who kept captured Mandela. And all the while he was being paraded around as some big terrorist, while Ollie North was being embedded with U.S. soldiers and pontificated as a patriot. And all the while we were just supposed to be saying no, our streets were just saying yes to PCP, crack, guns, and ecstasy. When I say freedom fighters, you say terrorists. Freedom fighters. Terrorists. Freedom fighters. Terrorists. When I say soldiers, you say militant. Soldiers. Militant. Soldiers. Militant. Nicaraguan freedom fighters. Gun-running terrorists. Mile Eye soldiers. Black Power militants. Because if Tuskegee, Goon Squads, and COINTELPRO is what we do know, that doesn't scare you, then I want you to think just for a second all that we don't know, because Bin Laden, Noriega, and even Shalaby were on the CIA payroll until we flipped them like flapjacks from freedom fighters to fundamentalists to fanatics, all the while bankrolling the next Israeli tank rolling in the occupied territories. When I say poetry, you say rock. Poetry. Rock. Poetry. Rock. When I say guns, you say Glocks. Guns. Rock. Guns. Rock. IRA freedom fighters, IRA terrorists, IRA soldiers, IRA militants. You see, it's really dependent on who you ask, whether it be a Kennedy or what we see as democracy in El Salvador, Algeria, Afghanistan, or Chile, because I want you to remember that Chris Posadas was a freedom fighter. And I want you to remember at the same time, well, you know what? Nat Turner, he was a terrorist who was hunted down by U.S. soldiers and in the end hung as some uppity Negro slave revolting militant. When I say poetry, you say rock. Poetry. Rock. Poetry. Rock. When I say guns, you say Glocks. Guns. Rock. Guns. Rock. American freedom fighters. Iraqi insurgents. Gun-ring soldiers. Korean student militants. Who live in the axis of evil with those evildoers, who if you're not with us, then my God, you must be against us, but if you're with us, then you've got to be against the terrorists as we declare Star Wars on your holy wars, and you better hope on your lucky charms that you're not one of the 7 designated to be magically obliterated as we drop bombs, and you get to play hot potato with who gets to be called the next great Satan. When I say poetry, you say rock. Poetry. Rock. Poetry. Rock. When I say lies, you say stop. Lies. Stop. Lies. Stop. When I say freedom fighters, you say terrorists. Freedom fighters. Terrorists. Freedom fighters. Terrorists. When I say soldiers, you say militant. Soldiers. Militant. Soldiers. Militant. Soldiers. Militant. Soldiers. Militant. Read between the media lines, y'all, and figure that shit out for yourself. Peace. Woo!